ragazzi, ma mamma mia, mi maradare.
Welcome into episode 2 of Gridiron Guides with Gridiron Goliath Marco Cirillo and my co-host Mark Papaleo. Week 1 sucks. I hate week 1. It's always sucked. It always will suck. Quick recap against the spread. And keep in mind, it's not easy picking against the spread. For all you people want to say, oh, your record sucks. Screw off. Pound pavement. But Pap, your record was 6-9. I was 7-8, almost 500 right there. I did say I was staying far away from the Thursday night line, which I did, and I'm glad I did because I would have missed that too. But it's week 1. You have weird lines. You have crazy weather all over the place. Week 1 absolutely sucked. It sucked. It sucked. Your takeaways. It sucked.
My week 1 was great. The Miami Dolphins showed up out there in LA and took down the Chargers. Tua looked unbelievable at times. He made a couple terrible throws down the field. He made a couple jump ball, terrible throws down the field. But all in all, they look good. He looks great. If they keep him upright, the sky's the limit with this team. A lot of sloppy football everywhere. I mean, the Dolphins alone had 3 fumbles.
And that was a good weather game.
I know, yeah, that was indoors and fumbles galore. Some problems with Connor Williams and Tua there. But I mean, that's what happens when you have no one plays these preseason games. No one plays these preseason games. They're not getting the snaps. The chemistry isn't there. That's why you see a lot of interceptions, a lot of fumbles in week 1, a lot of sloppy football. Hopefully, that's an excuse for the Giants going forward. That was just a 1 week thing. But all in all, good week. Obviously, against the spread, it was tough. We absolutely got killed with the Steelers. I mean, I told you.
They didn't show up.
It was bad. I mean, I didn't even know who the Niners were playing, and I liked the Steelers there. But clearly, I should have done the homework a little bit on that one. Shout out to Monty. But yeah, Steelers looked really bad. I mean, the one takeaway I came from last week was your pick that they win the AFC North is in jeopardy.
It was a bold prediction,
fast.
But it's looking a lot bolder by the second. Oh my God. No, just it was an absolutely horrible week. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was planning on doing a whole breakdown show of all the games. I literally couldn't think about football for 2 days. I did all my film analysis yesterday. For 2 days, I could not think about. Monday, I was physically ill. Tuesday, I was getting there, but still couldn't look at anything. I don't think these teams understand what these games as fans do to us. It was it was just, you wait months upon months upon months. It was the worst thing that could have happened. And I don't want to dwell on it because it was at the very high end of bad luck variance. You have a blocked field goal for a TD right away. You have a stupid ball pop right out of Barkley's arms for an easy pick 6. There's a fumble, by the way. They just love hating Daniel Jones because it's really easy. But that was a fumble. Regardless, you're down 16-0 before their offense even has to do anything. You're probably going to lose the game. They still look terrible. There's too much to fix. I'm not even that confident against Arizona this week. And I mean, we'll get into our picks. But just what a game does to the psyche of a fan, a diehard fan, when something like that happens it's actually demoralizing. I have never felt like that after a regular season loss. I couldn't speak.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously 2 sides to the spectrum. I mean, they stomp on the Chargers. Obviously, don't stomp on them. They stomped on their defense. And I'm planning the Super Bowl route around Hard Rock Stadium. You know what I mean? And then you have one game where you get killed by the Cowboys and the season's over. You want to burn it down. So that's why we love this shit, because there's highs and there's lows, and it's crazy highs and the lowest of fucking lows.
Yeah, but does it have to be that low?
Oh, that's the Jets.
All right. I mean, they won their game.
Who cares?
Of course, it sucks. You lose Aaron Rodgers. It's probably over, right? They still won a huge game, Monday Night Football, against their division rival. And Zach Wilson, nobody wants to say it because it's Zach Wilson, 66% completion, making the throws he needs to make. Granted, Garrett Wilson helped him out on that touchdown, but he didn't look so awful that he can't be serviceable. Maybe he learned a thing or two behind Aaron Rodgers. You know,
No,
their
I agree.
season's not over. We lose to Arizona this week, our season's over. We're not losing that game and then going to San Francisco 4 days later and winning against them. It's not happening. The season is done 2 weeks in with playoff aspirations. It's done 2 weeks in if you lose that game to Arizona. Done.
The Cardinals are scrappy. I told you.
They are scrappy. Yeah, that was one of the ones that you got and I missed. Yeah, they are scrappy. And Gannon had our number 3 times last year. I don't want to make this a giant show, man. Just, my God, it was as demoralizing a loss as you could possibly experience as a fan.
Yeah.
Short, and you know what? By the way, people are talking Aaron Rodgers. Our best player got hurt. Andrew Thomas got hurt. Our O-line already sucks, and then you lose the only good piece of it. So I'm miserable. I'm miserable. I'm miserable. Anyway, looking ahead. Oh, and by the way, the one mailbag question that we got about Calvin Ridley last week looks like we're dead wrong about that too. So just a brutal week.
Oh, I don't know. I told you he's a red zone threat. He had a touchdown off rip. So
okay, but it wasn't just a red zone threat. The guy had 47 targets.
Yeah, we'll see what happens when they play a team that's not the Indianapolis Colts this weekend.
All right, that's true. And by the way, that was another one that you got and I missed, but the Colts should have covered that. You talk about heartbreaking. Yeah. They have 4 plays with Richardson, and he gets hurt the first one right at the end zone. They should have covered. Thank God.
0-10 on week ones.
I mean, yeah. I really thought they were breaking it, and they should have. The football gods do not want them covering week 1. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to this week. Tonight, we got Eagles-Vikings. I kind of want to go rapid fire just through like who we think is going to win, why, and just go that way. Yeah. I think -6.5. I'm probably taking the Eagles there. Their defense is a little banged up, but the Vikings looked horrible. And now they're going to come on a short week to Philadelphia, cover 6.5. I just don't really see it. Your thoughts?
I think the Vikings look good passing the ball, obviously week 1. Their defense couldn't stop anything. Baker Mayfield had his day with them. He apparently picked up on their signs. But I like the Vikings to cover 6.5 here. It's a bold one because I don't feel too strong about it. But the Eagles have some holes in the secondary now. 2 guys out tonight, including their starting safety. And who else is out for them tonight? I just saw.
They're missing James Bradberry.
James Bradberry, former Giant. There we go. So I think Kirk will be able to throw the ball over the secondary today. All it matters is how the Vikings defense, if they show up or not, because Jalen Hurts could have a field day against them. So we'll see. I still like the Vikings 6.5 though.
All right. So we're different on that one. We got the Packers at the Falcons. You were a little low on the Falcons last week. I still picked Carolina, but said the Falcons would win that game. And I was huge on the Packers, and they absolutely smashed the Bears. Just +1.5 now on the road for Green Bay in Atlanta. I'm going to go Green Bay winning that game. I liked what I saw out of Jordan Love. I know they're dealing with some injuries on the outside, but Arthur Smith still doesn't know how to use these weapons. I mean, even in a game where they won, you're still not using Drake London. You're still not using Kyle Pitts. The defense looked good, but will they hold up against a more competent offense with what looks like could be a good quarterback? It'll be a test for Atlanta. I don't ever feel comfortable picking the Falcons 2 weeks in a row to win a game. So I'm going to go Packers +1.5.
I didn't pick the Falcons last week, but I'm going to Packers. Jordan Love looked a lot more competent than people like to make it out to be. I think he looked good. He looked comfortable. His checkdowns are there. He's got 2 reliable backs that are going to help him out. His offensive line is veteran. Outside of the Christian Watson injury, nothing really worries me about the Packers after last week's showing. It was the Bears, but The Falcons are kind of in that same category as the Bears. I like their quarterback a little less than the Bears quarterback in Justin Fields. So for those reasons, I'm going to take the Packers as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, the only thing that's worrying me with that one is Aaron Jones. If he can't go, it could be tough sledding, but we could also see movement in that line, so that's something to track. Then we got the Bucks with their surprising win and the Bears with their surprising loss to some. Your thoughts on that game?
Is it basically a pick 'em?
We got 2.5 for the Bucks,
2.5?
minus 2.5 at home.
Yeah.
So basically,
I'm taking the Bucks minus 2.5. I was actually looking at these spreads a little earlier. It's about time, right? But I do like the Bucks there on the road at home in Tampa. Chicago coming all the way down here to Florida. That sun's gonna be blistering, like you said. It's still summer. The Bears are gonna have trouble with that defense. That defense still looks mint over there in Tampa. I look to see the Bucks win at least by 3, so they're gonna cover.
I like the pick. I just think that if Matt Eberflus is ever going to get this team on track, and if he's going to last there any longer than this season, this is kind of that. They can't go 0-2 after that loss to the Packers. The Bucks will feel a little comfortable coming off that win. And I think the Bears match up a little better. I think Fields being athletic is going to be able to at least have those scrambles, test that defense a little bit more than Kirk was. Because really the Vikings, and I like Kirk as a quarterback, if you can stop their passing attack long enough for that rush to get there, like there's nothing that Kirk can do. He can't maneuver all that well. And I just think that the Bears match up a little better athletically with the Bucks. So I'm going to go Bears plus 2.5 here. I'll take the points. I mean, if not now, then when for the Bears? It needs to happen now, or it's not going to. So I'll go Bears plus 2.5. We got the Seahawks at the Lions. Lions minus 4.5 at home. Your thoughts? Seahawks looked terrible last week.
Seahawks look bad. I think they might have a bounce back week here. It's kind of a get right game for them. But I really like the Lions. I like what they can do. They can get the ball to these athletes they have in space, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery's going to run that rock right up the middle. I like their scheme. Their defense plays hard. Dan Campbell's got a good team there, so I like the Lions. And they made believers out of me after going in to Kansas City last Thursday. So I like the Lions there covering the spread.
Nice. I mean, I left that game a little lower on the Lions than I went into it. They only put up 14 points on offense with the Chiefs missing their best defensive player. The Chiefs really should have won that game if Kadarius Toney could have caught the ball once. And they were without both their best defensive and offensive player outside of Mahomes, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to think about the Lions yet. I think they'll get it together as the season goes on. And the Seahawks did look terrible against the Rams, but I don't think anybody expected the Rams to just come out and punch them in the mouth. I mean, the Rams had a horrible season last year. They had no space to really make any moves this offseason, and they're without Cooper Kupp, and yet they came out pretty impressive. I just think the Seahawks were a little taken aback. And I don't like picking a Pete Carroll team to lose twice in a row. I think they're going to come ready. And even if they lose, I don't think the Lions are world beaters yet to be getting 4.5 points against a Seattle team that made the playoffs last year and beat them last year. So I'm going to go Seattle plus 4.5. It's close. Like I could easily see the Lions winning that game. I just don't think it's going to be more than 3. We got the Raiders, who won against Denver last week, like we both said they would, against the Bills, who disappointed big time, and the Bills are getting 8.5 at home. Your thoughts?
8.5 at home is insane. After, Josh Allen had 3 picks last week and a fumble against the Jets. Obviously, it's against a worse defense with the Raiders coming into town. The Raiders got a big win, statement win at Denver last weekend. I still do like the Bills here, -8.5, only because I think Josh Allen's gonna be pissed off. I think they're gonna be able to move the ball down the field. What I see about the Bills, all they do is hit home runs. And if you don't have if you're not a defense that has the athletes to stop those home runs, I think the Bills are going to be able to do that all day on them. I like it so much that I took Garrett Wilson on my starting receiver role this week to stack him with to stack Josh Allen with Gabriel Davis in my fantasy.
Wow,
So I
bold.
think the Bills get rolling there early, and I think they put it away early.
Yeah, I feel like I'm taking way too many road teams to cover. Let's start with that. But I'll probably go Bills here too. I just hate betting them. I think they're so inconsistent because Allen does play in that unicorn sort of role where you never actually know if he's going to make the greatest play you've ever seen or if it's going to be the most numbskull thing. Like, what was that stupid dolphin dive when he was like 10 yards short? Like, what? He bothers me so much because I never know what you're actually going to get out of Josh Allen. But the Raiders are coming off a nice win. I still don't think that defense is all world. I just don't think the Broncos have it figured out yet. I think the over here is nice, honestly. That over 47 and oh wow, they're just 47 straight now. So yeah, I mean, I like the over in this game, and I'll probably take Bills -8.5 just because the Raiders have a lot that they got to figure out, and Devontae Adams is questionable. Jacoby Myers took just a brutal hit towards the end of that game, so he's definitely not going to be back a week later. I'll take the Bills -8.5. It's not one that I'm comfortable with. I do love the over in that game, though. Next, we got the Chargers, who just lost to your Miami Dolphins in probably the best game of the week. At the Titans +3 at home here.
Titans +3 at home is tough. I think I have to go Chargers. Their offense is just, it's still really good. I mean, if Eckler's playing this week, if he's active, he could run the rock, or run the rock, catch the rock. It don't matter what he does. He's a Swiss Army knife for that offense. He gave the Dolphins fits all game. I think they go in there and actually roll because once you get ahead, Ryan Tannehill's not getting, coming from behind. 3 interceptions on the road in New Orleans last week. I don't think it gets much better this week for him. I think they'll try to run the rock, but once you get behind, you can't really run it. So
this one's tough for me because it's an injury-riddled game. I mean, Eckler is now 2 days not practicing. DeAndre Hopkins is 2 days not practicing. Not that Josh Kelly can't pick up the pieces there, and not that the Titans were able to get Hopkins the ball anyway last week. But those injuries do matter because it does limit what you can do. I mean, I like Treylon Burks to be able to carry the load there. And I think Vrabel is such a better coach than Brandon Staley, which showed this week, like it always does. Well, what were those play calls? They're trying to go down and win the game with the field goal because you guys missed the extra point.
Yeah.
They have a chance to win the game. What are those ridiculous play calls at the end there? And Herbert, by the way, wasn't executing well either down the stretch. So I just think the Chargers are destined losers. And I think that the Titans with Vrabel are winners. So just because of that, I'm going to go with the points, take the Titans at home there. I'm not sold on the Chargers yet.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I kind of put the Chargers and Bills in the same category as they're just home run hitting offenses. They're not going to put a drive together that's going to absolutely wear you down because even though the Chargers have the run game, it's still a small running back. You're not going to be able to ground and pound all day. It's also getting out in space and hitting home runs. So I think Josh Allen and Herbert kind of mirror each other in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the Kellen Moore offense, I mean, it's predicated on just making those big plays happen. I think the wrong team to do that against is the Tennessee Titans, just with the way that Vrabel coaches. I think the Titans come into this game prepared. I don't see them going 0-2. Really, officiating had a big part in them losing that game a week ago. And I just don't think the Chargers are a well-coached, disciplined team. I like their offense from a fantasy perspective a lot with Kellen Moore, but I just think Brandon Staley's a bad head coach. And until he proves
He
otherwise, I'm not picking him as a favorite on the road against a team with a very good head coach in Mike Vrabel. So +3 Titans for me there. We got the Colts with Anthony Richardson officially healthy going to the Texans. The Texans are favorited in this game.
Yeah.
-1.5 at home. Your thoughts? And a very low over-under, too, 39.5.
Yeah, just take the Colts money line. That's all I got. Colts money line, I mean, the Texans shouldn't be a favorite going anywhere. It does worry me a little bit, even though they're at home, that they are favorites. But, I mean, Vegas doesn't know what to do with that game. I'll tell you what to do. Colts money line. Take the plus money. That's all I got for you on that game. And you know the Texans are going to blow them out now because I'm picking the Colts.
I mean, maybe, but what about last week suggested that the Texans, it's not like it's in weather, it's in a dome.
Correct.
Like, what about last week suggested that the Texans should be, because the Ravens didn't even play well.
No.
What about that game suggested that the Texans should be favorited against the Colts when Richardson looked good against better competition? I don't even get that at all. I'm smashing that 1.5. I think that's the easiest line of the week, which means that the Texans are winning by 14. But
yeah,
that's a crazy line given the information that we have, which on these teams is not much because they're very young. I don't get that at all. Smashing the Colts. We got the Ravens +3 going to Cincinnati. The Ravens won last week against a bad Texans team. Didn't look that great. The Bengals would be the story of the week if the Giants weren't as bad as they were. So your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, the Bengals, caught me slipping at least. I think you took the Browns. I took the Bengals to go out there. Yeah. But that was a scary game. But apparently Joe Burrow doesn't play good against the Cleveland Browns. So I think I'm going to take the Bengals here to, get to bounce back here against the Ravens. I don't know if I love the spread. I mean, 3.5 is a lot for a team that just laid an egg against another divisional opponent. But screw it. I'm going with Burrow. Joey Shiesty hasn't let me down except for once now. But I do like them. Obviously, the Ravens got a big win. They covered our spread last week. They should have covered by way more. They came out, looked sloppy. But week 1, everyone's sloppy. I'm taking the Bengals.
So this is probably the hardest one for me to pick because I wasn't impressed with the Ravens last week, and I certainly was not impressed with the Bengals, obviously. I think weather had a lot to do with that game for the Bengals, but I think the Ravens definitely have a chip on their shoulder from last year when they were right there to beat the Bengals in that playoff game. If Lamar's playing, they probably do. We don't live in a world of ifs, but the Ravens definitely have a chip on their shoulder from that. And with the Ravens, I mean, you could say they probably looked past Houston a little bit for this game, and maybe that's why they came out sloppy, and then they ended up covering anyway because the Texans are that bad. But the Bengals, I mean, Burrow misses another full year of training camp. They come out sloppy. They started 0-2 last year, and the Ravens, I respect Zach Taylor. I think he's a good coach. I think the Ravens are significantly better coached with John Harbaugh, and I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. I just see them going into Cincinnati, avenging that playoff loss and winning. So I'm going to go Ravens +3 here. A lot of disagreeing with me and you this week, I'm noticing. All right. We got Kansas City at Jacksonville.
This is the Kadarius Toney game. This week, I'm telling you, this is the Kadarius Toney game where he pops off in Jacksonville.
Come on, no, it's not.
It is.
He's not a gamer. He's not a gamer.
I've suffered long enough.
It's not the Kadarius. Are you starting him again?
I'm starting him again.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This is the get right game. This is the
Don't
get
do
right
that to
game in
yourself. Don't do that to yourself. There's no such thing as a get right game for him. He's in the studio right now recording when he should be watching
For him,
film.
there is. He's gonna get the targets. They're gonna go right back to him. You know it.
Oh my God. He's literally making another album, if you could even call what he does music. He's not the Kadarius Toney game. Is that your prediction of the week? Kadarius Toney goes off?
It doesn't matter what he does with his mouth. It's the hands. Gotta catch the ball. It's all that matters. If he can catch the ball.
Oh, yeah, he did a lot of that last week.
Yeah,
did a lot of that.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a bounce back. He's gonna have a couple catches.
God.
More than zero.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's nowhere to go but up, right?
Get right game.
Oy.
Take the Chiefs. I don't even. The spread's what? You don't even got there yet.
The spread is 3.5. Chiefs on the road in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs. That's enough.
I'm taking the Chiefs, but it's not for the reason that you're taking them.
No. I know. But Chiefs on the road covering. The Jaguars didn't look convincingly great against the Colts, like we said. Again, that could just be a divisional game. You know, they see them a lot, figure each other out. But I think the Chiefs are pissed. I think Mahomes is pissed about that game. Kelsey will be back in some sort. So I think him just being on the field will, even if a decoy, he'll be, if he's there, that offense is going to be humming. I think they go in there. I think they shut up, everyone that's saying they're not the best team in the NFL still.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are pretty easily covering that spread on the road, too. You get Kelsey back. You get Chris Jones back. That week one game was just sloppy on both ends. Again, the lines didn't really impress me either. That's not Chiefs football. And I think that they get back to that this week. They'll be absolutely fine. Cover that 3.5 and shut up, Trevor. I hate the Trevor hype. Over it. Kadarius Toney's not doing anything. It's going to be Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice. Kadarius Toney. Freaking moron. Anyway. We got the 49ers going to a shockingly resurgent Los Angeles Rams team. Rams +7 at home. Your thoughts?
+7's a lot. They're home. Obviously, they're a home dog here. I'm taking the Rams +7. There's not much to think about. It's a divisional opponent. They always play pretty close to each other. 7's a lot in week 2 for the Niners. I think, if the Rams can get that, their offense humming again, take the ball out of Brock Purdy's hands, I think the Rams cover. I'm not going to overthink it here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that McVay's a good enough coach to at least keep this a close game at home. Not that they have much of a home field advantage, let's be honest. The 49ers do kind of own the Rams in the regular season over the past couple of years, but they're always relatively close games. I don't know. I feel like a moron doubting the Niners again. They made me feel too stupid last week, so I think I'm going to go Niners -7. That team's just talented, and I think that the Rams will do well enough this season because they're well coached, but at some point the talent gap does add up, as we saw with a few teams last week, and I just think the Niners are much more talented than the Rams. I think they'll keep it close. I'm not confident in that -7 at all, but I think it's like an 8, 9, 10-point game, and the Niners will probably lead for a while. The Rams will storm back a bit, but I'll go Niners -7 in that one. Then, Christ, we got the Giants at the Cardinals. Giants -4.5. Your thoughts?
I'm gonna go Cardinals +4.5. They're scrappy. I mean, they're going to go out there. They're going to hit you. That defense plays hard. The Commanders, obviously, offense is still figuring itself out with Sam Howell, so they might have had, some success based off that last week. But it's their home opener. People are still going to pack that red barn. The Giants, I think they're a shell. I think Daniel Jones is going to be a shell of himself, sadly. He already was last week, but I don't see it getting better this week. I see the Giants winning, but I'm taking the Cardinals with the spread, with the points.
You know how bad it's going to be if the Giants don't dominate this game. Like, it can't be close. And honestly, the more that I think about it, truly, the more I think about it, the Cardinals are probably winning this game. Like, I mean, we're probably without Andrew Thomas, who is our only decent offensive lineman. The Cardinals, for what it's worth, brought a lot of pressure last week against that Commanders offense, a lot of pressure. And now they're going up against literally no one. I mean, I feel maybe if we just run the ball every play, we'll manage to win. I'm gonna pick us -4.5 because you have to win this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to win this motherfucking football game. You have to win the game. You can't lose this game. You have to win. But I'll be honest, my confidence has never been lower in any pick I've ever made. Jonathan Gannon ripped us apart 3 times last season. He's now the head coach there, obviously. You can't even call it a trap game because we suck. We're the worst team in football. We can't execute a field goal. So, fuck me. Next, Giants -4.5, but I don't feel good about it at all. Hammer the under. It's at 39.5, but hammer it.
Isaiah Simmons' revenge game.
Yeah, that's my one saving grace. Beautiful. We got the Jets at the Cowboys. Cowboys -9.5 at home. Over under 38.5. I'm going Cowboys -9.5. You?
I'm taking the opposite. I'm going Jets +9.5. I don't think I saw enough from that Cowboys offense in an absolute blowout in MetLife last week. Dig that dagger a little deep for you.
Yeah, thanks.
But I don't think I saw enough. I saw a lot of the Jets. They play with life. Their defense is insane. It worries me when the Dolphins play them here in a couple of weeks up there in New York and New Jersey, I should say. Jesus. But yeah, I like the Jets. Even though Zach Wilson scares me, that offense scares me without Rodgers. We never saw them with Rodgers, so it shouldn't be that much of a difference. I think the Jets can cover 9.5 on the road in Dallas. Take the Jets.
Now I'm just going to get the Cowboys fans coming at me for picking them not to cover, so I'm picking them to cover. Because I can't say one bad thing about the Cowboys until November 12th when we fuck them up. I don't care what happens the rest of the season. I really don't. We could win one game all year. If it's that game, I'll be happy.
In Dallas, big dog.
I hate them. All right. We got Commanders at Broncos -3.5 at home for the Broncos. I'm going to take them to cover that line, even though I hate having 3.5. I think it's the most, that and 7.5 are the most obnoxious lines in football to me. Yeah. But I just don't think the Commanders are very good. This Denver defense is way better than that Cardinals defense is. I just think that they're going to get after it, and I think that Russell Wilson's going to be able to make enough plays. Jerry Jeudy coming back this week. I just think the Broncos will probably win this game pretty handily, probably anywhere from 5 to 8 points. So I'm going to take the Broncos -3.5. You?
5 to 8 points. That's insane for what we've seen from this Broncos team so far.
Well, we saw one game against a Raiders team that we both think is going to be pretty good.
I'm going to stay Commanders here. I'm taking them with the points. Easily enough for me. I think they're going to be able to run the ball somehow. They're going to find a way to run the rock with Gibson or Brian Robinson, either way. Denver just still looks like they're sputtering on offense, and it doesn't get much easier this week with the defense they're facing. So I'm taking the Commanders with the points.
All right. Then we got the Miami Dolphins going to Foxborough. Patriots 3-point dogs at home. I'll start us off with this one. I'm going to go Patriots +3. I liked what I saw out of this unit against Philadelphia last week. I really did. I thought Mac Jones had full control over a Bill O'Brien offense. Even with limited weapons, Hunter Henry, Kendrick Bourne, he looked in control. He looked poised. Patriots defense is always good. Obviously, as you know, it's not easy to go in Foxborough, win a game. I think the Dolphins are really good. I'm very high on the Dolphins. I just think that Belichick will give them enough problems for the Patriots to steal one on the road and kind of, shut things down. Again, the Dolphins beat a Chargers team that I don't like only by 2 points. So coming on the road to Foxborough, I'm going to take the Patriots with the points there.
Well, we know where I'm going. I mean, the Dolphins are going to blow out the Patriots on Sunday Night Football, and they're going to absolutely bury Bill Belichick in a grave that is it's a long time coming. Sorry, I can't even speak. The Dolphins are absolutely going to spank the Patriots. There is no remorse. I know I'm going to be back here next Thursday crying the Dolphins lose. I'm sure it's going to happen outright, and you're just going to lay an egg. But as of today, the Dolphins are going to absolutely blow out the Patriots. I would take it if it was at 5, 6, 7. I wouldn't care. Dolphins are going in there, and they're not slowing down.
We'll see. It remains to be seen for me. We got the Panthers at home Sunday night. Oh, no, they have 2 Monday games this week. That's exhausting. We got the Saints and the Panthers on Monday night. Panthers +3 at home. I hate the Saints, but the Panthers showed me absolutely nothing. I'm taking the Saints -3 there. I don't think this game's going to be particularly close. Bryce Young, he's a rookie, and it showed. And they have a lot of improvement to make. They still had DJ Chark hurt. Thielen's banged up. I don't like anything that I'm really seeing out of Carolina at the moment. So I'm going to go Saints -3 there.
I like that pick as well. I think if you have the Saints as your defense in fantasy this week, you're probably pretty excited. I think they're going to throw a lot at young Bryce Young. That sentence is so stupid. That's why I had that stutter. A young Bryce Young. But I like the Saints. Obviously, I picked them to cover last week. They played a much better football team, a better coach football team. They still found a way to get a 1-point victory. So I like them covering the 3.5 here against the Panthers.
I'm with you. And then we have Browns at Steelers closing out the week. Also on Monday. Also stupid that there's 2 Monday games. What are we doing with the schedule? But anyway, Browns -2.5 on the road at Pittsburgh. Low over under at 38.5, and I think that's about right. I wasn't particularly impressed with the Browns offense last week outside of Nick Chubb, but it's in the rain, and Deshaun Watson looked better than he did at any point last year. Meanwhile, the Steelers looked as bad as they possibly could have. I like Mike Tomlin teams. Like, I find it so hard to believe that they're going to lay 2 eggs in a row at home. But I was just really impressed with that Cleveland team. And it's another team that I just think is more talented than these Steelers. So I'm going to go Browns -2.5. Your thoughts?
I'm leaning Browns 2.5 too, for all the reasons you already stated. They had more talent. Obviously, they showed up and won an ugly game in Cincinnati last week. Steelers just didn't look there on offense at all. The only guy that wants to play there in Pittsburgh, it seems, is TJ Watt, because that offense is non-existent. Deontay Johnson's out for the Steelers. I expect Anthony Pickens to get a lot of targets, but I don't think that really accumulates to much of that Steelers offense. So I'm taking the Browns.
All right, and I mean, those are our picks for the week. That's pretty much the episode. We're going to come with different segments and stuff next week that we're still working out. But those are our picks. And again, against the spread, none of you have the balls to go against the spread and post them publicly. But get in the comments. Tell me how lousy my picks are against the spread while you're doing it.
Please.
Assholes. A bunch of assholes. Comment.
That's what we want. We want these assholes.